Rolling.
What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. We got the usual suspects, and we're definitely going to talk about Manchester United walking into Chelsea's park and owning it for at least 36 minutes until Graham Potter decided to make some changes. We're going to talk about Nottingham Forest pulling a rabbit out of his hat and shoving that rabbit at Liverpool's ass and beating them. We're going to talk about Southampton, baby, coming through and making Arsenal drop points. Big game, big players, big talk. What up, Shay? Was it Shay? Did Shay do something this week or no? No, it wasn't Shay. It was Armstrong. One of the strong Armstrongs. I don't know which Armstrong, but neither of them ever score, but one of them did. And we're also going to talk Spurs being dismantled at home by Newcastle. I talked about Manchester United going to Spurs, going to Chelsea and owning it, but this was a true example of somebody coming to your house, kicking your dad out of his couch in front of the TV, smacking his wife on his ass, sending her to the kitchen to go make you dinner, yelling at your kids and sending them to the room, putting their foot up with their shoes on the ottoman, and just taking full liberties. And that's what Newcastle did at Spurs in front of Conte, and nothing. The Spurs had pretty much nothing. And now we can hear more of a louder Conte out, but we're going to get into it. We got Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England, Southampton fan. And we got Neil Chakravarty. Normally I'm cool with Neil, but I'm mad at something he put in the chat, and we're going to discuss it on the show. I'm not going to tell you what.
Rant, is that what you're mad about?
Yeah, I'm mad about that. I'm mad. How dare you? World Cup winner, 5-time Champion League winner. He's on the floor. How dare you say? But that's when I knew how much of a Chelsea fan. Like, I knew you're a Chelsea fan, but I didn't know until you went that heartless. I was like, this is the most heartless thing I've ever seen in our chat when you put that comment about why is the ref
it wasn't a
stopping
head injury. That's not how it's supposed to be.
He's been down for 5 minutes. Your man is open because he's down.
So win the ball back and then put it out. Like, that's what United should have done.
Wow, there goes the heartlessness. And you think, well, what did you get for all that heartlessness? Huh? And that Jorginho chest pounding. What did you get for it?
That was, I think, a world record goal. I think now he scored the most penalties you can without scoring an actual goal.
19 out of 22, something like that, I think.
Yeah. So
yeah,
he scored 10 penalties since his last, non-penalty goal, which I think is a record.
Well, don't expect him to score any non-penalty goals. I think that's his thing. That's what he does. Penalties, goals. But what do you think about the game overall?
I mean, it's a very tactical game, as you alluded to. Like, United set up in a certain way, and then we were getting outrun in midfield because we had, it's a 3 versus 2 situation, and when one of them is Jorginho, who really doesn't have any pace about him, it's very easy. Like, that 3 looks even more of a mismatch. So I mean, Potter had to make the switch, and credit to him, he made the switch pretty early. Like, he didn't wait till even halftime, because you could be a goal down by halftime just because you saw something, you knew a change had to be made, but just because of some weird unspoken rule managers seem to have, that you can't make subs for 45 minutes.
Can't admit a mistake.
Yeah, you can't admit your own mistake. So I'm happy he made that change, and Kovacic was in, and it just suddenly seemed like we had just more control. It was an actual, like, there was balance now. And
can I show you Potter making a change? You have to bottle of water. He's like drinking his water. What's going on here? We're getting overrun. Get somebody in here.
And Kovacic, he was he was not even warmed up. Like, I think they had to like get him quickly up. So yeah, it was good. After that, I thought it's not like either team had a lot of chances. There were like these half chances that were coming by every 10 minutes or so. But there was a lot more control. And I think that the next time it changed was again when we made our subs, we got Pulisic and Broda on, and that brought in a lot more, energy. Chukwemeka on, a lot more energy into the way we are playing. And then for some reason we got that penalty. We totally did not deserve to win this game. So I'm not going to say that,
not at all.
We we should. So that's why I was like not that disappointed, even though it's really hard to take a goal being scored on you in the 96th minute. But
legit goal.
Yeah, it's a legit goal. But you still feel like your team should defend that, when there is just so little time left. But now that, so you didn't deserve to win the game, but now you somehow, Scott McDominay he makes a mistake and you get the penalty and you score it, but now you should be able to see the game out. But I think that's, it's kind of an indication of where we are as a team. We're not a complete team right now. So even from, I don't know what Potter was communicating to the team. It's like when we score, the only way to
team. What you're missing?
We're missing almost everything. Like I can't tell a single part of our play where we are actually, we're rock solid. Like we can, like I have full faith and confidence in. So that, like, down to the fact that the manager is brand new, the attack has been a problem for a couple of seasons now. The midfield is aging or always injured, and now the defense also after this summer is pretty much brand new, and our keeper situation, I prefer not to speak.
I mean, you had a good keeper.
He had a good game though. He had a good game.
He had a good game.
I will say that. It's not his fault that his arms aren't long enough. He did it.
God's not a Chelsea fan. That's all.
So so I mean the fact that when it comes to like seeing out a game, I don't like when you absolutely give possession, and that's a very bad way of controlling the game in the modern game. You should be able to still have some sense of control and control the game that way. Like we pretty much, it's almost like that penalty actually didn't come out in isolation. We actually had a good 10 to 15 minute period with the subs leading up to that. And that's how we were in those areas. You got the corner, we created the pressure and got the penalty. But it's almost like now we know you're 1-0 up. You flick a switch and then you're just parked in your own box, waiting for wave after wave after wave of that. And United is not some 20th place team. It's a team that can hurt you if you give them so much of the ball, and that's what happened.
Arsenal, Liverpool,
and
Spurs, I'm just talking shit right now because I'm still mad at the seeing that the heartless text from Neil in the chat.
But where was it wrong though? Like Varane got injured, he was down. It hadn't even been a minute.
But it hurt because you could tell he's really injured, and you're like,
how could you tell that though? I've seen
it's not a head injury, so but
the rules say the ref is supposed to stop the game if it's a head injury or if it's a potential head injury.
Neil, the rules does not say the ref has to be as heartless as you. The rules, you know what I mean? That's not what the rules say.
And by the way, like I've seen many footballers hoodwink the ref that way too. So I think you have to have a.
I wouldn't have wanted stopped either if I was a Chelsea fan or vice versa. But yeah, it's just like it's just you could tell he was really hurt, and then it was going to affect his World Cup. It's like I remember when David Beckham was playing for AC Milan right before a week or two before the World Cup, and I saw him go down, and he's like, and it's happened to a bunch of players. It's rare when you see that moment in somebody's life when the next big thing that's going to happen to them is gone, and you witnessed it like live. I don't think there's like you don't people. This happens to people in regular jobs every day, but it doesn't happen like in front of the world. So it's like, wow, that is crazy. Like, yeah, you got injured, but now you get knocked out of this big ass thing, especially as like and France's whole team is down. Like you got N'Golo Conte, he down, Pogba's down, and now Varane is like key pieces. Like, not that
it sounds like he might be okay though.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It sounds like he. They're saying it wasn't as serious as first thought, and
see, I knew it.
Well, no. But he's still going to be out. He's still going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks.
I knew he was making it. Also got the waterworks on just to make it even more real.
When you thought it was serious, you didn't give a fuck, and that's the problem. Thank God he's not a good
footballers, man.
But apparently he won't play for United again before the World Cup.
That's huge.
It'll be 3 to 4 weeks, they think, for his recovery, and then he'll see if he can go into the squad. Like they're going to have to like see how it goes, kind of thing. So it's not like he's definitely out, because that was the first thought. But yeah, he's got a chance, which I guess is what he wants. Because I mean, he's 29 years old, so
yeah, this should be his last
the time. Run. Yeah, he hasn't got like that long to potentially play a World Cup.
When was the last
maybe another Euros, but
when was the last time a country won the World Cup back to back? I don't recall that happening for a while.
I don't know if it's ever happened.
Brazil, maybe back in the day.
Brazil might have done it
because Pele won so many World Cups. He must have won something back to back.
He won 3.
All right, let me look.
I think the first 2 might have been back to back, or maybe I think he played in 4. He didn't win in '66, and I don't know.
Because '66, I think '66 he was a teenager. He was like 17 then.
No, '66 is when
England won, right? Yeah.
He'd won before that. In '66, the Portuguese fouled him out of like one of the games.
Yeah, his first one was where he was a teenager and he practically didn't play, much like Ronaldo in '94.
No, he played. He won that game. He won those games.
Okay, so Italy were back-to-back winners in the 30s. They won the second World Cup and the third World Cup. Brazil back-to-back winners in 58 and 62. I think 58 was the teenage Pele.
Yeah,
when they beat Sweden. I think he was like 17 or something then. So I think they might be the only ones. Yeah, they're the only ones. All the others have been gaps in between.
So the
point England won it in '66 and Brazil got it back again in '70. So Brazil won it like 3 times in 4, but only 58 and 62 were back to back, and then 34 and 38 for Italy.
It's so funny that you ever seen that Pele documentary on HBO? I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if Leah's seen it or
I've seen it.
It's on a different platform in England. But for a guy that won 3 World Cups and went to 4 World Cups and was pretty much like the player, and at least the player of the cup in 2, they sure made that documentary in a way that still makes Pele look like an underdog, a victorious underdog, one of the greatest players in the world, better than everybody in his time, and you still buy it. You still buy it, even though by the end of the documentary,
that's great storytelling. Yeah,
it's great storytelling. Great storytelling.
So my point is,
am I feeling sorry for Pele right now?
Because his dick doesn't work. That's why.
Not at 80. Yeah.
He's shilling those Viagra pills or whatever the hell he was selling.
So my point is like, France likely won't win it this time, right? So Varane, you know what? Just stay home. You know,
unless
you don't want to go all the way there and have to cry again on TV.
You continue your heartlessness, even though we discussed. I told you why I'm mad, and you're like still continue with the heartlessness. How dare you?
It might be what makes England win. Ian, look at the bright side.
If France had got Benzema, they got a chance. That's all I'll say.
That is true. Benzema.
Yeah, and they got too many. Benzema has 2 French players that play with him right now in Real Madrid that they're getting comfortable. They're getting used to each other. So there's no N'Golo Conte, no Pogba. You slide all 3 of them into the team, and then like Real Madrid versus matches up with the rest of the French players.
But Varane might be a loss though, because I don't think the centre back depth is as big. Because I think Laporte.
But France has a lot of other good
Spain,
defenders all over the world. Yeah, but France has a lot of really good defenders all over the world.
Yeah, like Laporte's healthy.
Teams.
But does Laporte play for Spain or France?
France.
He has a Spanish.
Oh no! Hold on. I know he turned one of them down. Let me.
Yeah, he turned one of them down.
Yeah.
Or no, he turned one of them down because they weren't ever going to pick him. They weren't playing him. Spain national team, because it was France who were messing him around because he was born in France. Okay. And they were fucking him around, so he went and got Spain caps instead. He's been 15 caps for Spain.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Which they kind of missed out there because they could have. At this rate, they'll be playing Kurt Zouma.
I was gonna say Kurt Zouma because Fofana is injured too. He'd probably be. But
Fofana is like new. He wasn't really in there yet.
Yeah,
France got other defenders though.
Yeah, they got Kimpembe, who's at PSG. He tends to start, although I don't think he starts for PSG right now. So
it was him and Marquinhos for PSG for like all these last season. I don't know about right now. I don't know if he's injured or I don't know if he just got dropped for somebody else. But there's Kimpembe, and there's got to be. I know I've seen more French defenders because they got Saliba.
The guy who started at the back for them when I saw them last week was Diallo. There's a guy called Diallo.
Right.
He was playing centre back with Marquinhos. Yeah, it was him and Marquinhos at centre back.
Yeah, I think he's like a backup. I don't know if he replaced.
Oh, they got Upamecano and Konate. No worries.
Yeah.
Let's not waste any time on these guys.
Yeah, I couldn't remember
That's
the names,
just crazy.
But I'm like, France got defenders. Like, it's weird. They got mad defenders. Yeah, I forgot about them dudes.
Yeah.
I can't say much more about the game than what you said. It's right. It's just the pride of and the surprise of watching a Manchester United team, even if it was just for the first 35 minutes of the game, take over. What's your ground name again? What do you guys play? What's the name of that place? I'm seriously can't remember. I'm blanking. So what?
Stamford Bridge.
Stamford Bridge. I forgot it was Stamford Bridge. Like the Chelsea fans forgot it was Stamford Bridge, and they were cheering and they were like staring, like they were making changes in their mind like Graham Potter. So it's just fun to see that. And listen, when we talked on the podcast before, we both agreed it would probably be a tie, and it was a tie. And I'm excited about the last minute goal, that, and I'm excited for Casemiro and how much it meant to him. The United fans yelling Argentina, Argentina, and Martinez saying he felt like crying in the interview afterwards, to come that far.
Well, I thought they were trolling Casemiro.
Nah, they were yelling at Martinez. How would I don't understand how that would work.
Because Casemiro is Brazilian, right? So you yell Argentina.
But it was at the end of the game, and they were just yelling it at Martinez.
Oh, okay.
Like United travel away fans, and it was fun to see Shaw tell Mason Mount, "You don't want this," when he shoved him away, and Mount to be pretending that the shove really shoved him away, but heeding the warning. I was just thank you for saving my life, and it's just good to have I wish Fred when he went in would have been better. That would have really helped us. I want the fans to stop being hard on Jadon Sancho, so I'm going to be disappointed about that. And it's just and also stop being hard on Rashford and saying he should have put away chances, and then bringing up that Ronaldo would have scored those. Ronaldo wouldn't have gotten those positions. Ronaldo wouldn't have like created those opportunities. This is not. It's not like you take out one and then the other one would have did what the other would have done. It's not why.
Yeah,
Like
fans feel like
pressing,
Ronaldo is going to be planted right there that moment when Rashford is
yes,
about to take a shot. That's not how it
yeah, it's not
happens.
how life works. It's not
Yeah.
like if the other person's out, the other person's going to be right in those same positions, like you're saying, and they're going to score. And it's like the one everybody to know this: the chances that Rashford takes are the ones that he is creating, and we're improving. You know, that's what I like. We're improving. Like I said it at the beginning of the season. I just want to see us play better football, and I don't. I'm not actually. I'd be surprised if we get in the top four, but we probably might end up in Europa League again. But I just want to see us improve, and I can see the improvement. But because we're improving, some fans are like, "Nah, we should like be in the top four," and they never expected the improvement that fast. Like people's optimism and excitement, they're getting a little carried away. They're not letting the players improve. Like Rashford is going to be putting these chances away. There's so many games left in the season. There's like, I think we played 11, so there's like 29 or something. He got 29 games to score goals, and he will, you know. And so we'll be fine. So I won't drag it on and say much more. Lee, you got anything on this game? Manchester United versus Chelsea?
No, just other than like United are impressing me these last few weeks in terms of
Right?
they're like you look at like you're playing like a big team again. You're turning up in the big games, which United have only been doing intermittently in the last few years. Like occasionally they would turn up. I remember like you had the ones under Ole where you would beat City like away and stuff like that, but then you would go back to losing to some shit team the next week. But you're turning up in these games now regularly. Obviously, the Spurs game, you were dominant. This one, you dominated a large period of the game. And yeah, I mean, Rashford, I think needs, he deserves a bit of slack. There are games where he's showed up this season and won the games for you. So with forwards, they're not always, not everyone can be Haaland.
Right.
He's raised the bar for being clinical this season, and Kepa pulled off a couple of good saves as well. Credit to him. Anthony, I thought could have maybe won the game for you if he was a bit sharper though. Some of the shots, like there was one where he got through and it was on his right foot and he missed the target completely, and I'm like, you've at least got to work the keeper there. But he at least looks a threat for you whole game. Like he was threatening, like in every game I've seen him play so far. He, like when the ball comes to him, it's oh shit, something's going to happen. So he's been exciting to watch as well. And like we said midweek, like Casemiro just grows every single game, looking more and more comfortable in the Premier League in terms of showing his experience and his class. And yeah, just echoing like credit to Potter for making that change as well, because that's not an easy thing to do that early in the game. It shows some tactical acumen and some decisiveness and willing to make those big calls. So yeah, I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a really high level game of football, and that's what you want to watch in those big games. You want to see the tactical battles, you want to see individual quality as well, and I think the game had all of that.
Oh, dope. Yeah, man. And I guess I'll get to this in the Newcastle Spurs game, but it said something else about the Man U game, but I'll have to bring that up then. So what did we say was going to be next? Was it going to be Liverpool Forest?
Oh, the biggest.
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, that was definitely definitely more of a shock than Spurs losing.
Yeah. Man, I thought like Liverpool was going to definitely get another 3 points for sure, no problem. I felt like Forest was just there to facilitate that, and this is all before the beginning of the game. But like Liverpool got problems. Like 3 forwards are out: Jota, Darwin Núñez, and who else was out? Diaz. So a lot of their money wasn't on the pitch in the front line. It was Carvalho, Firmino, who has probably been the best scorer this year, and Salah, who has not always been firing on the same cylinder since he signed the contract and since Mane bounced. And they still have like a midfield where I noticed the last 2 weeks, like when they got 3 points from each game, like Klopp keeps refreshing the midfield mid-game. Like he'll play like last game he made at least 5 subs, and they weren't like garbage minute subs. It was like, I'm gonna to keep this intensity of this press that's missing, and that's not there anymore, and it's not existent. That made us like the team. Like I've seen him like refresh it, and so he started with a lot of youth.
Yeah, Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott in there.
Yeah, young. That's a young ass.
Yeah, with Fabinho.
You know?
No, I think he pushed Milner up to midfield, and I think got Trent back at right back. Milner actually was having a good game.
Trent came off the bench.
Yeah, Trent came off the bench. And Milner was actually having a surprisingly good game at right back.
He's played there before, yeah.
Joe Gomez was horrible in that game, which kind of surprised me because I thought he was probably one of the best players versus City. He's really crucial versus Man City.
He's been bad in the 2 games, or made mistakes in the 2 games after that. Like what's his name? Awobi?
Awoniyi.
What's his name?
Awoniyi.
Like they pressed a lot. Like they pressed them. They hunted in packs. They just tried to win the ball from that Liverpool midfield that usually and normally does the same thing back to them. And it's just that Forest got too excited when they got into the final third and blew a lot of chances, but they scored that one, and it's just a surprise that Liverpool couldn't get one back. And normally they would, but they didn't. And they almost went down 2-0 at the end when somebody hit the post, because I think it was Liverpool took a corner and Forest came back up the pitch. Counter, yeah. But what were you gonna say?
So they if you look at Alisson, it's probably their player of the season, and almost every match he's having an amazing. And also every match he's probably the man of the match, which is all that you need to know about how Liverpool is right now, because your goalkeeper shouldn't be shining so much. I think last season they had a very good defensive record, but a large part of that was due to Alisson. I remember reading stat, and there's like a visualization. Somebody had done this graphic of Alisson had faced the most number of one-on-ones in the Premier League. And you don't expect a team which finished second in the league, could easily have won the league last season, to have the keeper who's facing the most number of 1v1s. And I know the Highline is part of that. It contributes to that. But even with that, it shouldn't be that lopsided. And I think now it's come to a point where how often can Alisson save you? He can't be superhuman all the time.
Yeah, he did yesterday. Not for that one moment.
Yeah.
People might think like a 1-0 is a smash and grab kind of thing, but I mean, it was a smash and grab in terms of possession maybe, but when Forest had the ball, they were ruthlessly efficient in creating chances. Because just looking at the stats, seven shots on target each, and they were big shots on target as well. Like Alisson was having to come up with big saves. Obviously, there was the one off the post before the goal as well. So they were creating. They were looking like they were going to do something every time they won the ball and countered on Liverpool. Which, like you say, that high line gets exposed, and it's mystifying why Klopp hasn't really tried to do much to fix it yet. Especially when you're missing key players as well. I don't know, it was staggering how open they were against a team who aren't, amazing. Certain players had good games, like Lingard showed up. He didn't really have much final product, but he worked his ass off in that game. Awoniyi, who, is an ex-Liverpool player as well, which made it even funnier. Like he was constantly
Inaki Williams.
Nico Williams.
Yeah. He showed out.
He had a great game as well. He's a really good player. So it's if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be worried about just how much they got opened up, because Liverpool could have easily won this game as well. Liverpool had big chances too that they squandered. They were just really wasteful. Salah missed a good chance. Van Dijk had one where he headed it across goal when he should have just headed it in the goal, and then he headed
did that
one
twice.
Yeah, and then there was one that was on target, and Henderson pulled off a world-class save when he got down late on to get his hand on that one. So yeah, Liverpool had their chances, but I would just be so worried about how easily they got carved open at the back by a team who are struggling.
Yeah, it's just surprising, like all these results from Liverpool. Like at first you're like, it's early, they're gonna turn it around like they did last season. But now I'm like, I don't believe in them anymore. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen every week. Like they don't have the team to do what they did last year or the year when they won. And they're just gonna have to figure it out. And I don't know how long it's gonna take to figure it out, but I'm gonna assume based on everything, it's not gonna be, like, I just don't. I can't believe in Liverpool that Liverpool is going to be Liverpool anymore. Not this season. Like,
yeah, I think
every time. I was gonna say, every time they look like they've turned the corner and they've fixed things, they regress again, and that would be another worrying thing for me if I was a Liverpool fan. It's like every time they seem like they figured it out, there's just something happens, and the injuries definitely don't help. I will give them that, especially to such key players. That never helps. But yeah, it's just, it must be so frustrating where it's like, oh no, we're getting the result. Beating City, but then losing to Forest is such a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Crazy.
That's just so frustrating if you're a Liverpool fan.
You'd almost want to beat Forest 1-0 and then lose to City 1-0. You probably come out of the week with more confidence with that set of results.
That's funny, and that's true. Yeah, you'd understand that more.
You can write that off
as a set of players. Yeah. But this is like, and kudos to, is it Steve Cooper, the Forest coach? Yeah. Just for the way they set up, the way they played, the way they caused so many turnovers, and a knew where to cause those turnovers in the field and to jumpstart their attack and get their counters going, and the energy. And he also made a lot of subs to like replenish the team mid-game on like I think 5 substitutions or like 4 like at like the 60-something minute. It's like when Lindegaard and all, just to keep it going, and to Yates, the energy he displayed. And what's the name of the black guy? Who was a sitting midfielder for
Forest?
For Forest,
Kouyaté?
Kouyaté, them guys was
the ex-Palace midfielder.
Yeah, he was everywhere. So, yeah, they did their thing. And they got a point. They won. They got 3 points.
I think Liverpool still probably, I mean, of course, they're not, I don't think they're going to challenge for the title. Probably that ship has sailed for this season.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I think they still get top 4 though, because they still have a more complete team than some of the other contenders, and they still have Alisson, as I said. They still have those world-class players and that world-class manager, and you kind of trust them to get everything in order.
I don't trust you, Neil. I don't trust you. You're saying
I mean, Liverpool were my choice to win the league.
This statement has nothing to do with your optimism for Liverpool. This has to do with your cautious optimism for Chelsea.
It's not just Chelsea, even United, right? For that matter. And I mean, of course, it has to do with my optimism for Liverpool, because I had them at the beginning of the season to win the whole thing. So I still feel, and even like if you see XG and stuff, I think they are I mean, they're not performing as badly as the results are showing. They're performing way worse than what they were expected to perform. But I feel like they still have more pieces in place to get going.
When they get going.
Once they get going, I don't like, for example, Chelsea. I don't see what get going means. So I don't even see it on the horizon. So
you're doing it. You're doing it.
And
you're doing it.
And I can expect like up and down, even United and even Spurs. Like Spurs are third on the league right now, but have they really got going this season? I don't think so. So
yeah, this is it. This is their get going. Now they're going to get going down the table.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a little more faith in Liverpool, but let's see. I think World Cup is going to be a huge turning point for a lot of these teams. Like you see the injury list is already piling up. We spoke about Varane earlier. Liverpool's had a bunch of injuries. Chelsea's got a bunch of injuries. So Spurs right now, they still have Son and Kane fit up front. Something happens to them, that's literally, you're talking now about a mid-table team. So so that's
they
going to
play
be
like a mid-table team, so they might as well go to the position in the table what they play like.
Yeah, like this is a very unique season, like the things that can happen during that World Cup.
Yeah. Do you just want to go to the Spurs Newcastle game now?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I was, and I said in the opening how like Newcastle like got in the house, took the dad's chair, put their feet up on the ottoman, smacked Spurs' wife on the ass and told her to go make dinner, and yelled at the kids and grounded them. But they literally, Newcastle literally did that. Like their fans outsung the Spurs fans in their own brand new stadium. You met how much that stadium cost? And you have like some traveling fans come through and outsing you in your own joint. We can't even hear
that's
you.
Crazy.
Like we can't even hear you, and you got Son and Kane. You third in the table, and my point is the performance of Bruno Gomez, Joe Linton, Willock, what's their forward name who scored that beautiful goal?
Almiron.
And thank you. Not just Almiron's goal, the first goal. I'm sorry.
Oh, Wilson.
Wilson. Like, thank God. That's what VAR is for. Don't interrupt. Two guys ran into each other, and some pundits are like, well, what about the arm of Wilson? What about it? It didn't shove him. It's attached to his body. What is he supposed to do? It's not a handball. Like,
no.
Like, come on.
He didn't have anywhere to go. Well, Lloris fucked up by not dealing with the ball properly, and then it was just an excuse to try and call a foul where it was just two players. They both ran into each other. It's not a one at fault more than the other. Lloris fucked up. Wilson was just there, and Wilson was smart enough to make something of it and get up and put the ball in the net. Yeah,
what's he supposed to do? Dissipate? And just like the goalkeeper's not even in the box. There's no calls for him no more outside the box. He'd maybe get that call in the box, but out the box, now you're in the field where the rest of the 10 players play, and nah, bro, it's already a physical game. He's not calling bullshit outside the box. Like there's fouls that were real fouls outside the box that didn't get called, so you ain't gonna get that one. So to me, that was a legit goal, and thank you, ref, for not calling it, and VAR for not interfering, and that was fun to see. There was also Almiron's goal, and then Newcastle, I'm mixing it, almost got a penalty. I would have made it 3-0, and I wanted them to get the penalty because I don't like Spurs, but VAR also didn't give them the penalty. And I was like, you know what, VAR, you've been on point today, and you're right not to give that as a penalty either. So I'll accept that. But yeah, man, they and my thing is that's why there was something I wanted to say about Newcastle's performance. This is why I was not upset with Man U's performance versus Newcastle when we got 0-0. This is a real team. Now they're above us in the table. They see what they just did to Spurs. Like we, like a lot of Man United fans, like, it's Newcastle. How come we couldn't beat Newcastle at home? This is why we couldn't beat Newcastle at home, because they can do this. And we still dominated them, and we didn't score. And we could have scored. We created chances. So don't be mad at that performance. Like appreciate our performance against Newcastle. Because after that, we beat Spurs, and then we went to Chelsea and tied with Chelsea. Newcastle is real. They ain't going away. You know what I mean? They real. So any points against Newcastle is valid points. They're not like the Newcastle from a year ago and 10 years, the team that went down and came back up. This is Newcastle. So our performance, I'm one of the few people that was not upset about our performance against them. And they validated me not being upset the way they dealt with Spurs. What y'all got?
It was a pretty dominant performance, I thought, from Newcastle, which I've been saying all season that I think Spurs have been getting lucky. They were playing games where they weren't playing great. They were giving up chances to the opposition, but then Lloris was bailing them out, or the other team weren't finishing, and then they would go up the other end, and Son or Kane would be clinical, and they'd get a goal and win a game that they didn't really deserve to win. And it feels like that luck's run out now. Like against Arsenal at the Emirates, they played crap. They sat in. They got pulled apart. They did the same at Old Trafford as well. This game, I thought they were a little bit more. They weren't quite as pragmatic. They didn't sit in quite as much, but they just didn't really have the quality, which was, it'd be worrying if I was a Spurs fan, because they're trying to be a big club. They appointed a big name manager. They started throwing a bit of money around. They started signing players from big clubs. And it's just, the only reason I find it staggering that they're still in third place. Like, that's incredible.
That's kind of weird. I was like looking at it, so how are they still? Is there math wrong? Yeah. I had to count it up myself just to make sure.
Yeah, they're so lucky that that they've been lucky, and that other teams have been inconsistent, because they don't look like a top 4 team right now. And credit to Newcastle, they came and they played almost a perfect away game. If they hadn't conceded, they rode their luck a couple of times early on. Nick Pope pulled off a couple of good saves from Son, and they had to do that. But other than that, like I say, they were fairly dominant. And it's interesting to see how Howe has sort of gelled that team together, because obviously it helps having the money to go and pay for people or their wages, like Trippier and Guimaraes, and Dan Burn at the back, and Botman and Pope. But then also like Wilson and Joelinton and Almiron. These guys were already there, Longstaff as well. So he's working with people that were there previously that Steve Bruce wasn't getting that much out of. He's molded them into a team.
Not only that, like, I guess you're saying it, but I just want to say it myself, because I've been thinking about it. Like I didn't know Eddie Howe was as tactical. I knew he played attacking football with Bournemouth. They just came up and they would attack people. But I did. So in this job, it's not even tactical. Like, they have a style of play that like encompasses like an entire game that could take care of any facet or whatever a team can throw at them. But I've never seen some of these players play as good as they're playing with this coach. Whether like everybody's taking their game. So he's made players better. Like Almiron is definitely better. Like Burn is definitely better. And when you can like squeeze more value out of situations that already existed, you're really showing me you're a dope ass coach. So now hats off.
Yeah.
Neil, I don't know if you had anything to say about that game.
No, I missed the game.
But it was
I had a late night. I was very hungover. Because not just late night, because I had a late night because we had this Indian Diwali thing. a Diwali party to go to, and then I spent 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. watching the World Cup cricket, India Pakistan, which is like our biggest biggest game, and India won. It was a crazy game, and so I went to sleep at like around just when the Premier League games was about to begin.
What's Diwali again?
Diwali
I think I
is
ask you this
like
every year.
Festival of Light, isn't it?
Yeah, Festival of Light. See, Lee already he's got like, you know, UK's got an Indian Prime Minister, so Lee's already on board with everything Indian now.
Wait a minute, the UK has an English Prime Minister?
UK has an Indian Prime Minister, yeah.
Rishi Sunak.
How many hours? How many hours ago?
he came in earlier today here, so it was around 2 p.m. here. But what I will say is Rishi Sunak is also a Southampton fan, so
that's right.
Although he's a conservative, I will I'll cut him. Although he's a conservative, and I think he should be absolutely, you know, admonished, and his party should be thrown out. I will cut him a tiny bit of slack because he's a Southampton fan. He talked about his dream is to buy the football club as well. So, his family are worth like 700 billion.
Well, that's because he married into India's biggest businessman, like our. I don't know if you want to call it Bill Gates, but not maybe the Bill Gates from the 90s of that time. Naren Murthy, who's got a software company, his daughter married Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
So
they're crazy wealthy. They used to live in Santa Monica until he started moving up in politics, and then he came back. But yeah, he was born in Southampton. He's a Southampton fan.
Yeah, we don't claim it, much like Lee, what you said, we don't claim him much either.
Why not?
He's one of the bad ones. So.
Damn.
Yeah, but
so he last till next Diwali.
He's a conservative 1%er, so it's hard to like him.
Yeah, he's pretty like he's been on record saying things that kind of like, hey, 1% go.
Yeah. Yeah, but the person, because there was two people vying for the Conservative leadership, and the other one was a woman from Portsmouth who is a Portsmouth fan. So Southampton fans are like, well, we'll take this as a victory that, you know, a Southampton fan beat a Portsmouth fan to get that job.
I didn't actually know that was a derby.
Southampton fan beat the Portsmouth fan in the race to ruin the country. So you take that as a victory. All right, that's cool.
Do we have...
she's more right wing than him, so it's a very minor victory. But
do we have any intel on who Boris Johnson supports?
Himself, only himself. He's not capable of any emotion towards any other human beings other than himself. Not even his wife, his ex-wives, or any of his many illegitimate children. So he's a piece of shit.
Jesus, what is it? Game of Thrones over there? Leave British Nick Nolte alone.
No, he's a rugby boy. He doesn't. I don't think he even knows football exists. He's a piece of shit.
Damn. I don't know where he got his brain damage from. He's not normal.
Inbreeding, probably. That's where he got it from.
Damn.
So the point is, I missed this first game. So
circle it back around.
This is what happened. Yeah, that's fine. This is what I did. I landed 11-something LA time, so I didn't get to watch any games before that. And there's this Starbucks in Palos Verdes that's on a cliff that overlooks the ocean. And I just said, instead of going home, let me get something to eat and bring it to that Starbucks. I bought a green tea, and I sat outside on the patio overlooking the ocean, and I fired up the iPad, and I was like, I'll watch the Spurs game without knowing the score. And I was watching it, and I was enjoying it, and I was like, what is going on here? But not only that, while I'm watching it, like the scores from the other game are coming up. So to see Villa 4-0 to see Southampton 1-1 final score against, like, I was just being surprised the entire time I was taking an interview and watching the game. But that's why I didn't get back in the chat, because I watched the game late and I didn't want it spoiled, but it was just fun to see Martin's excuses and then you guys clapping at Martin. Always. So how would you pull that off, Lee? That 1-1 versus Arsenal, man. That's an impressive score, bro. It's pretty impressive.
We were lucky. Like we the first half of the game, Arsenal were pretty dominant. Jesus, he kind of wasn't as sharp as you'd expect him to be in the box. Like he was getting in good positions, and our keeper made a couple of good saves. We defended, for our lives in that first half. So we kind of rode our luck a little there, but Hasenhüttl tweaked things tactically for the second half. And we came out looking a bit more in the game. He changed the way the midfield was set up. Went to like a sort of 4-4-2 because we were sort of 5-4-1 in the first half. So he made us a little bit more attacking, which was good to see because we needed to obviously go at them after we went a goal down to get back in that game. But we, that second half, I think we earned the draw. We could have easily been more than one goal down before. I've always said I'd like the guy, but when we were losing so many games and the losing was bad, then you got to call for it. And then I said as long as he's not losing games, he can stay, and he's not losing games right now. So, but I'm a typical pessimistic Southampton fan in that I'm just waiting for then the run of 7 games without a win to start, because that's how he manages us. It's all up and down. Like this form won't continue for the rest of the season. I'm just hoping we can have enough good spells to make sure we don't get pulled into a full-on relegation battle. But the problem was for us, though, that all the teams, or most of the teams around us this week, won. So a lot of teams around there pulled off victories. Let me just have a quick look at the.
West Ham won.
Yeah, they won today, right? 2-0.
The table's crazy though. Like West Ham won, and now they're in the top half.
Yeah,
it's relegation.
It's mad. They're only 2 points. They're only 2 points close. Yeah, they're only 2 points ahead of us, but they are 6 places ahead of us. That's how tight it is. But like Villa won, Leicester won, Forest won as well, so they don't go too far adrift. Obviously, Leeds and Wolves are looking like they've got some issues, but Everton won this weekend as well. So, that middle of the table is really bunched up, and I hope we can get some results that see us, move upwards rather than downwards and start cutting adrift from the real bottom teams. But we've got some winnable games coming up.
But even it's not just the middle of the table. If you look even down to unlike some of the previous seasons where early on, like Norwich just completely fell off a cliff, like. The relegation teams are only 2 points below. So, like the entire bottom half has 5 points between them. Like actually the last 11 teams from 10th to 20th have just 5 points between them.
If you want to say 6 points, then
Brighton,
include Forest. If they win 2 games, they could be in 15th.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I mean? So it's tight down there.
It's pretty mad, but that's why I was getting worried about losing games, is that all those teams would start to pull away, and we've managed to keep ourselves in that pack of teams, which is a good thing, and I'm just hoping it continues. We've got Palace next, which is a game we can get something from, especially if they play like they did against Everton this weekend.
They didn't play against Everton.
We need to ask Everton if we can borrow Obi. For this game.
Yeah, man. Jesus.
Yobi, I mean,
so let me ask you a question. What do you think was the best goal this weekend?
That was the
Tillman?
The
Tillman?
Or Everton team goal. Everton team goal.
Everton team goal. That little back heel to McNeil was unreal. It reminded me of one of my favourite goals of all time. It wasn't quite on the same level, but there was a goal for Real Madrid.
The McNeil goal wasn't the team goal. That was the third goal. But that was
Anthony Gordon goal.
That was my favourite. Fuck the Gordon goal. I like the back heel from Iwobi.
Yeah. Actually, those are 2 very good goals. Yeah, I mean, those are 2 very high quality goals.
I saw both those goals. And I was like, shit, I don't know. When I saw the second goal was a team goal, like from back to front with Pickford, and you're like, what are they doing? They're not going to clear this ball. Then they get it, and then Iwobi's involved again, and then they get it out, and then shot, save, and then Gordon jumps in there. I don't know why the ref put the flag up. I'm like, are you out of your mind? There's no way.
Yeah, he was.
This is offside.
He was way onside.
Yeah, but that was an Arsenal style team goal. But I did like the McNeil one, but I guess I got to go with the Gordon one, just because.
Oh, no,
but I do like what McNeil did.
The third one for me is because like the driving run from McNeil and then Iwobi to find that back heel was insane because it wasn't like McNeil was open. He had to find him amongst like three defenders, and for him to not be for him to see that and have that vision and not take the shot there because he was like through the angle would have been tight and the keeper was on him, but most players would be greedy there and try and finish that and probably miss. But to pull that back heel off was outrageous. And like I was about to say, it reminded me of one of my favorite goals of all time, which was for Real Madrid when Guti was through 1v1 against a goalkeeper and he just pulled off a little back heel. I think it might have even, was it to Benzema? It was to someone, I can't remember who it was to now.
Damn, that's how long Benzema been playing. Guti was there. Jesus Christ.
It might not have been Benzema. Let me I'm gonna actually watch it on my phone.
It's also
right
a testament to.
Oh no, it was Zidane, sorry, different Frenchman. Different North African Frenchman.
Different Algerian Frenchman. Is it Algerian?
Yeah. But it's also a testament to what level EOB is at. Like, it is great skill, but to have the confidence to even attempt it in a move like that, he's just flying at a different level these days.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, there's some players. You know how they turn some forwards into fullbacks? You know, they need to turn some of these forwards into midfielders. Like him and people like Joe Linton are just thriving just one place back, you know? And Everton scored 2 goals on Crystal Palace. That Crystal Palace, usually, the way they've been playing this season, scores on other people. So to get that like shoved down back in there, like those Everton fans just be like, I can't believe our team just did that twice. Like the quality of those goals is huge.
I just looked though. Benzema was on the pitch though when that goal happened. So that is how long he's been there. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the.
Nice.
Guti was quality, man. It's just that, you know, I'm torn. Beckham went.
It was Benzema who scored the goal. It was Benzema who scored the goal, not Zidane. I was right. My first thought was right. It was Benzema.
Yeah. I don't think Guti played with Zidane. If he did, it was Zidane must have been on his way out.
He did, yeah. No, Guti and Zidane played together. Yeah, Guti was there for years. He spent his whole career pretty much.
Yeah, it feels like Guti left early too.
I don't think he played till super old. I think he retired at like a fairly
not young enough to continue.
Oh no, he went to Besiktas for a season, but he was there from 95 till 2010, so he definitely would have played with Zidane at some point. That's a long ass time.
Yeah, he was quality. Just want to give Villa a shout out. First game without Gerrard and the interim coach. That coach, the interim coach, I was talking to Lloyd, who's a Villa fan. I mention him a lot. And I'm just saying this for the people listening and watching, that he's a holdover from Dean Smith's staff. So everybody that was there with Gerrard left. They're all gone. So this guy, he's a holdover. And their first goal was like a training field goal scored by Bailey. And then they just...
Yeah, the corner routine. Yeah,
the corner routine. And like 40 minutes in, they're up 4-0. Something like that, or 60-something minutes in, they're just up 4-0 on Brentford. And you know what? Brentford is my new team to hate. They're my new team to hate. Like when they first came in the league and they beat Arsenal, I was happy for them. But fuck Brentford. And this is why. because of a tweet that they posted from their account when Man City was up 4-0 on us. And it was Brentford, Man City 4, Manchester United 0. Like, mind your fucking business, Brentford. It ain't your game. Just watch it and enjoy it. You don't have to like slang insults at people just because. Like, how long are you gonna drag out this second game of the season win against us? Like, look where we at in the table, and look where you at, and you got to play us again. So keep talking that shit. And then you've been pounded by Newcastle, and you got pounded by Villa, who had to just fire their coach that been doing terrible and couldn't beat anybody. And 4 goals. You've been pounded by 4 goals a lot recently, Brentford. 5-1 to Newcastle. Let's see. And now 4-0 to Aston Villa. So keep talking that talk, man. You're my new team to hate.
So Spurs lost to Newcastle 2-1. We haven't covered that yet.
You sure? What?
Martin, do you have anything to say?
Oh, Martin just joined?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can. You know what? I was on this smaller screen. Oh, you joined. What up, Martin?
Martin looks like he's in witness protection, hiding from that Spurs loss.
But how long you been on, Martin?
No, I just got in.
So what's up? We talked. What do you have to say about your Conte? You still want him?
Of course, yeah. I think he's great. I mean, we need like I said before the season, we need one central midfielder that will be more of a playmaker, because we have 3 defenders.
Oh, like a Ericsson?
Yeah, I mean, but better. Like old Ericsson, like Ericsson 5 years ago. Yeah, that hasn't changed. I think that's the first thing we need to do, and to get a left back. But other than that, listen, it's a work in progress overall. Even if we lost last 2 games, I think the season is not bad. We've won, I think, 7 out of 12 now, 7 out of 11 or 12. It's not too bad. It's pretty good. I think we're still in the in fight for the top 4, and we'll see what they're gonna do in the winter. The game was kind of a different. Definitely, it wasn't the same game as against the United, where United were clearly better. I think in this game we actually started very, very well, and we had 3 chances that Son missed. And if he was finishing like he was last season, we would have probably won that game. And then there was this very controversial moment with Wilson and Leeds. That everybody said it's a very controversial moment because
everybody in the Spurs support. Yeah.
No. If you listen to Sky Sports, if you listen to any pundit,
the commentary on Sky were like, "Nah, where's Wilson meant to go? He can't disappear."
The
Sky commentators.
Like the rule of the actual rules are that if you're a striker and you bump into the goalkeeper, it's an automatic foul. Now
that's not a rule.
What about if the goalkeeper bumps you?
Huh? No, he ran into Lloris.
No.
He did.
No, they ran into each other.
They ran into each other.
Yeah, but
Lloris didn't deal with the ball.
The goalkeeper has an advantage according to the rules. The striker
in the box, but not out the box.
No. Check the rules. But it's even sometimes I agree. Sometimes you cannot, read the rules by the book 100%. There is so-called in-game adjustments. So, like I said, it was a controversial moment. It could have gone either way. It went this way, and he scored.
Martin, I think it was controversial because the ref actually made the right call, and everybody was in shock.
He made the right call. He made the right call. It was a 50-50 situation. He could have made this call, and he could have made the other way around. And both
right. All right.
Acceptable. I would say even 55% towards the foul, 45% towards non-foul, which not the biggest crime, not the worst thing that happened in the history of football, but I still think it should have been a foul. Nevertheless, then Almiron, who is in form, and I have him in my fantasy league, scored a great goal and kind of embarrassed Sessegnon a little bit, which is one of our weakest links at the moment. And they scored 2 goals in a row. It happens. Listen, like you just mentioned Brentford. You had your Brentford game. We had our Newcastle game. And Newcastle is a good team. I just read the story in New York. Listen, Newcastle is a good, ambitious team. I just read the story in the New Yorker about this new golf tournament sponsored by this Saudi Arabian company. They pretty much stealing all the best PGA players, offering them, some of them, hundreds of millions of dollars to abandon PGA because they started their own league in Saudi Arabia, which they want to have all the best golfers in the world in that tournament. You know, some like Tiger Woods said no, but a lot of them said, like Mickelson said yes to $100+ million, and those are the same exactly people who bought Newcastle United. So that shows you.
And they had Longstaff playing still. This wasn't some Galacticos bought by a millionaire. They still had Almiron. They had Almiron who couldn't score.
Almiron is one of the best shooters of the season.
They had $20 million
this season,
MLS Almiron.
but the Saudis didn't buy him.
Did you watch
the Saudis didn't buy Almiron. The Saudis didn't buy Wilson.
Well, did you watch
the Saudis didn't buy Jolinton.
But did you watch any Newcastle games this season? Did you watch?
Yeah, but the Saudis didn't buy those guys.
Is he one of the best players of the season so far, or he's not?
Yeah, but the Saudis didn't buy him though. You're saying Saudi money.
Replace him if he's playing well in his position. You know, why would you replace him?
This season he's playing well, but before he wasn't. They had every right to go and buy.
He's playing exceptionally well.
Yeah, it's because of the coach.
Exceptionally well, and there's no reason.
You're acting like it's some team of Galacticos assembled with Saudi billions.
No,
they haven't done that yet. They've signed some players.
I'm saying it's a serious player, Newcastle United, that will grow into the future as a potential threat to anybody in the league. And you know they're doing the right thing. They're building it. They're building it step by step. So they did with Man City. Man City, they also built step by step. They weren't dominant from day one. And they were dominant, I think, in their 4th season or 5th season of the investors coming in. So I see kind of the same pattern with Newcastle. It's a strong team. It's a well-coached team. It's not a shame to lose against them. It's not a shame. It's definitely not a great result. But I need to give respect to Newcastle United. It's a good team. It's a strong team.
Your fans disagree. Your fans were booing at the end of the game. They were booing.
I don't know. I'm not the fans. So are other fans in every city in the world. Those are the fans.
Martin, are you still on course for 30 wins in the season, as you said you would?
Right?
Are you still on course for 30 wins?
We'll see.
What about winning the title?
Mathematically, it's possible.
What about winning the title? You're still on course for that because you said Spurs is going to win the title.
So Arsenal is first, and I don't think Arsenal will win it. So we'll see.
But what about you guys? What about your prediction?
Well, you know, we'll see how we respond to this little slump, and I think we can definitely finish top 4. You know, but we'll see where the team goes from here. I can see now after those 10+ games clearly it's 2-3 positions that need to be replaced. They need to be strengthened, and once that happens, anything is possible. Because, like, listen, you know, like you mentioned fans, Lee. You know. We all know fans are emotional. We talk with Ian all the time about Man U fans being emotional, and when your team loses, even Liverpool fans are emotional, you know. And I read some comments, people criticizing Eric Dyer, where Eric Dyer actually didn't have anything to do with any of the goals, and he's one of the best defenders of the season in the entire league, and he made actually a huge impact for the Spurs this season. And I was the first one to criticize him 3 years ago because under Mourinho, he was a completely different player. And I think under Conte, he's a completely different player. And I don't think, but the fans are used to criticize Dyer. So they say, oh, bad Dyer. Because to be quite honest with you, most of the fans don't understand the game. You know, they're just with their heart, not with their brain.
I don't know if you can go out and sign a quality midfielder that you need, though. I don't know if you can get anyone better than what you've already got, because why would...
Well, we don't have a creative midfielder. We don't have one.
But why would a top quality creative midfielder want to sign for you guys and then play every game sat on the edge of his own box because Conte's asking him to play like a League Two team in the FA Cup?
One attacking midfielder that we have. So give me a name. Give me a name of an attacking midfielder. Central attacking.
No, he's agreeing that you don't have one, but he said, why would one sign for you?
Why would one sign for you when Conte's going to ask him to sit in his own half?
No.
But
no.
He
had Eriksen in Inter Milan, and Eriksen did the job for him.
You guys, I'll say one fair thing. Like, and this has something to do with what Neil said like last week about when Conte was coaching Chelsea. Like, Chelsea took advantage and they made the most out of their minimal amount of chances, right? You said something like that last week, Neil.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Spurs created those minimal chances that were good chances. This game, they created them in the Arsenal game. But if they don't take them and you go down, you can't keep playing the way you're playing. Like when if you go down, you have to change. It's like Graham Potter changed this weekend against United, you know? He changed. And I don't see Conte. Conte played us the same way the entire game, being dominated to when we scored, to after we scored another one. Like there was no change. Maybe I missed it if there was, but you got to do something, bro.
Like the way Conte plays, it's so reliant on Son and Kane being Son and Kane.
Clinical.
Week in, week out.
And okay, last time I checked, we're still ahead of Chelsea in the table, but yeah, sure.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But it might be good enough to get top 4 because teams like Chelsea, United, we are just about getting used to our new managers. We are not at where Spurs are. So to get top 4, it should be fine. It should be good enough. It's just that the pre-season hype of Spurs somehow being in a title race, even I bought into it.
There was no hype.
What I will say,
there was no hype.
What I will say though,
there was Chelsea. So I'm sorry, Lee. Martin, you can't say there was no hype when we all did who we thought were going to win the league. You said Spurs. There's definitely
only me and Neil had
Spurs to be hyped to make that say that.
Yeah.
There's no hype.
Listen, I'm not here to be pinned to the wall. You know, I remember exactly the conversation that we had before the season. You know?
No. But I'm just using
the fact. Let's keep the facts. Neither you or Lee had Spurs in the top 4. Only me and Neil had.
Yeah, I stand by that.
Where's the hype? Where's the hype?
That's not true because I had us 5th or 6th.
You had Spurs 5th and you 6th. Yes.
Yeah, but that's not bad.
So but where's the hype?
I had you ahead of us. No, but you said that's the thing.
I said that it's an emotional choice. That I'm a fan.
But you said there's no hype over Spurs, but you voted them to win 30 games and win the league. So of course
I hope I'm a fan. That's my hope every year.
You bought into the hype that you claimed did not exist.
There was no hype. Like, it was just me believing. I believe, not the hype.
But so me being logical has nothing to do with, doesn't help your statement whatsoever. Now I'm sorry, Lee. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, like he says, they're above Chelsea. They're 2 points ahead of Chelsea, and Chelsea have a game in hand, so it's not going to last.
So now you're a Chelsea fan?
More than I am a Tottenham fan.
I think it's not just
the table and start there.
No, I don't think it's like about it's not just about fans or like I think the fact that Conte has been here, it's the 2nd season now, and the fact that Conte had a strong
not full 2nd season.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a full 3rd season, so let's not even. This is as good as you're gonna get. So
the meltdown's coming. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air. It's happening.
And
well, I know he wants to spend money,
and the fact that he got he had Spurs had a strong run end to the season, got them Champions League football, spend a whole lot of money. Spurs, where everybody is pick off, who when you're trying to figure out who won the transfer window, Spurs were high on everybody's list. So all of those things combined had a good preseason. All of those things combined, people like it isn't just the consensus was that Spurs are gonna take the next level, and the next level from being a Champions League top 4 team is to compete for the title.
I don't think. First of all, we're still competing. We're 3rd in the table. Second of all, we didn't have a great preseason. I don't think we played great so far this season. I think still the best. We'll have the best ahead of us.
That's possible.
We'll have a good form at some point this season, and we'll hit a winning streak. I believe we will. And listen, we're 3rd in the table. We lost 2 games in a row. It's not great. It happened. United started the season with 2 losses in a row. Chelsea had a moment where you didn't win, I think, 2 or 3 games in a row. Southampton, I don't even count because if they win 2 games in a row, it's Christmas there.
No, I think, Martin, the mistake you're making is you keep talking about Chelsea and United. those aren't the teams you should be talking about in your second season on this match with that.
It's the first full season under Conte, and so far, if you don't get emotional,
you should be looking up towards Arsenal and Man City.
I don't think Arsenal will last that long at where they are right now, and I could see some cracks already last game. But I will tell you, City, yes, City is definitely the best team in the league, and it, like I said, it was my emotional choice. I wanted the Spurs to compete for the title, but I'm not insane. I would never consider us being stronger team than City. Of course not. The only way to think that we could potentially win in long term with City is if they had injuries. And Erling Haaland has a history of injuries. He was injured pretty much every season so far. That's the first season where he stayed out of injuries, and I don't wish him to have an injury. He's a great player. I want to see him every weekend and scoring goals because he's an exciting player. Plus, good guy and a good striker. So I hope he'll stay out of injuries. But
well, you must be the only one hoping he doesn't get an injury. I texted Pogba's witch doctor, and so
I've been on that band too. Yeah.
Also, talking of injuries, though,
we talk about Spurs. We're Spurs are third in the table, but like the team that is really underperforming is Liverpool. I would say Spurs overperformed, and now they kind of slid back a little bit. They're where I think they should have been.
I don't think they overperformed, but Liverpool is definitely underperformed. But they have a reason why. But go ahead, Lee.
I just want to say something on injuries. Like, if I was a Spurs fan, I'll be worried for after the World Cup because Gareth Southgate is going to run Harry Kane into the ground. He doesn't play anyone else. He plays Kane every minute of every game. He's going to run him into the ground at the World Cup. He's going to come back fucked. You guys,
well, after 3 games,
you guys are going to struggle after he comes back, I think.
Well, it depends when he comes back. If England plays 3-4 games in the World Cup and then he has time to rest, because that's what will happen.
True.
Probably.
Damn, so disrespectful, bro.
Well, I'm hoping England go deep into the tournament for 2 reasons now.
I'm on the BBC site. Someone just read this. It's about Champions League. I kind of lost place where everybody's at in the Champions League. There's games this week, right? Midweek. So 5 teams have already booked their place in the Champions League knockout stages. So we are going to take the final 11 spots as we enter round 5 of matches. Man City have won their group, but Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham still have work to do. Celtic and Rangers, meanwhile, are both already out of the Champions League, though they have a chance of dropping into the Europa League. So that's pretty much the European teams. Let me slide down to where Barcelona is.
Is this the game that can knock Barcelona out?
Yeah. So this is
the second,
and it's not even their game. It's not even their game. So Barcelona could be out of the Champions League before they even play on Wednesday if Inter beats Victoria Pleasant. Now, what are the chances of Victoria Pleasant beating Inter? Not much. And they will take the final knockout spot. So thanks to their head-to-head record against Barca, Inter, if they beat Victoria Pleasant, by Barca, you'll be in the Europa League, and maybe Ronaldo will feel more at home, with one of the top teams in La Liga being in the same tournament as he is. So Spurs, let me see what you got. Spurs will move into the knockout stage with a game to spare if they beat Sporting. If Spurs win, then Marseille could also go through if they beat Frankfurt, as they have the head-to-head advantage over Sporting. So right now, Martin, you're in Group D. You're at the top. You got 7 points, and you got to beat Sporting, who's third, with 6 points.
By the way, you're wrong about Ronaldo being in Europa League. You know that he's going to be in Champions League soon.
Yeah, but that still won't be until January.
Yep.
Why? Because of that article about him going to Chelsea? What do you feel about that, Neil?
To play with Aubameyang for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think that's a non-story. I don't think anything's happening there. What's happening is that Ronaldo is the biggest story right now, so they have to pull up every small piece of connection.
He's not the biggest story. He's not Kanye West.
No, I mean he's the biggest story he could in football right now. with what's happening with the situation. So I think there were links. Definitely, Todd Bowley wanted him, but one manager's already rejected him at Chelsea. I totally expect Graham Potter to be the second. So
yeah, I don't know what Burnley's thinking if he's like, oh, I want to bring in a manager who can develop young players.
Yeah,
but also I want to sign Ronaldo. It's like, what are you thinking, man?
He badly wanted to get Neymar on loan. So listen, it is true that he. Yeah, go ahead.
I just feel like any guy that wanted to play 12 players can find a spot for Ronaldo. And also the guy that wanted to have an all-star game, he said, why not I just buy some all-stars and I'll just every week will be an all-star game.
He does have a boner for a marquee name. That is true. That is definitely true. He does want a marquee name. I just don't think it's going to be Ronaldo.
But you know what? I like on the other end. Let me be the devil's advocate. I mean, since when suddenly Ronaldo stopped being a good player? Maybe he is a good player and he needs a different team and he will flourish in Chelsea. Who knows? Maybe he will be.
I think he's a good player. I think if he wants to play at this level, like you're talking about United, Chelsea, like top 4 Premier League, top 6 Premier League teams, I think he should be comfortable with the squad role, which I don't think he is. So therefore, he's making the choice for himself instead of somebody else making the choice for him.
I think he doesn't get along with Ten Hag. I think if it's the right situation, he might accept that role. But I just think he doesn't respect Ten Hag as someone who is in the coaching business for a long time, but never really accomplished that too much, to be quite honest with you.
Well, he signed for United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so it's not that there is a lot to admire and respect
with Solskjaer.
Huh?
He did get along with Solskjaer.
Definitely. No, but it's the same thing, right? Then why, that makes no sense. Like Ole hasn't done anything in his coaching career for him to respect him.
Yeah, but he was a local legend, and he had a great playing career.
He previously played with Maurizio Sarri under Maurizio Sarri at Juventus. There's no reason to respect him. So
no. But I'm saying that Solskjaer was a club hero. He was someone. That was from Man U family, where Ten Hag is just some guy from Holland that never really coached a big club before.
Someone needs to tell Todd Bowley that if he signs Ronaldo, that he won't be taking part in any US preseason tours.
Yeah.
Yeah. People keep saying the MLS is like, he can't come to the MLS.
But I don't think he'll be doing that.
Yeah.
But Ronaldo did go to those tours a lot in the past. I've watched him many times in LA.
Yeah, one of those tours got him in trouble. Or sometime he was in here. Chelsea, now a win in Austria would take them into the last 16. Or if they draw and Milan beat Dynamo Zagreb, Salzburg would be through if they won and Milan did not. So you have to win.
I mean, you don't have to win because you still have another game. But yeah, I think we need to win to just like make things comfortable. And I think it's going to be really important this season to finish first. You don't want to end up having to face PSG or Barcelona, not Barcelona, Bayern, or even Real Madrid in the second round. I think we definitely want to win. It's just that the way we're playing with our injuries, I can't really be very confident of our performances. So
come on, man, that's Spiliqueta. You could get can you get Willian back? Because Willian is killing it at Fulham. Scored this weekend.
He's
balled his ass off. So two games in a row is killing it. So hey, man,
Chelsea should be trying to get William back, and you should be trying to get Andres Pereira back.
I know. Andres Pereira, who knew that Andres Pereira linking up with William would be Reese's Pieces, like peanut butter cup.
It's Samba time in Fulham.
Yeah. And I've watched some of those Fulham games. I watched the one this weekend. I was like, okay. And the thing about Fulham, right? They're a middle of the second half table team. But here's what they have that all those teams down there don't have: a forward. Like when you have a forward, shit change. There's teams that can create goals, but they couldn't buy one. They couldn't buy the ball in the net. But Fulham, they got Mitrovic, he's legit. And it's a difference maker. It's a difference
The thing is,
between Leeds. It's a difference between Villa and just, even though I think Villa does have some scoring ability, but there's just other teams that they don't have that scorer, and Fulham does, man.
Well, they've had him in the Premier League with them before, but they weren't getting him the service like they were before. Now they've got players who are supplying him, like Pereira has. He's racking up the assists for Fulham this season. Willian's doing well. De Cordova-Reid is playing better than he did last time in the Premier League with them as well. Harrison Reed is a really underrated player this season. He's stepping up. So they're supplying. Yeah, they're supplying him with the bullets, and he's firing it. So it's they're overperforming massively compared to where I thought they would be.
Marco Silva. Like it's a bunch of, like, all those names you mentioned. It's a bunch of redemption stories. Like all these people who, besides Paulinho, but including De Cordova-Reid, like they had their chance in the Premier League before and it didn't work, and then they went away, and then they said, if I ever get a chance to come back, this is how I would do it, and they're doing it the exact same way they imagined it in their mind. Like Mitrovic is like, I fucked up the last 2 times because I think he was here twice before, and he's like, he had a chance to think about it and be like, yeah, this is how I do it. And even Marco Silva is coaching the way Mitrovic is playing now. Like, he didn't do well the first few times he coached in the Premier League. He got fired, and then he's like, I'm back. This is how I want to do it. And they're a fun team to watch. They're literally a fun team to watch. Like, fuck Brentford, I'll never watch them again. But I'm on this Fulham train.
Yeah, Leeds on the other hand, though, Jesse Marsch is in trouble. We spoke about it midweek, but he's
still
in trouble.
Beautiful football. That Aronson this weekend again, just a monster, just balling, and it just, man.
Yeah, Fulham definitely surprising. I would say that
Martin, turn on your light.
I will in a second. They're the best promoted team, for sure in the league, and that's a surprise because they were one of the favorites to go down again. They're like a yo-yo team, but now they had a chance to establish themselves for a couple of years, like they did in their first decade of this century with Dempsey, those guys. They were a solid team. I think they even played in the final of UEFA Cup one year, right?
I can't remember, but I knew they were solid, like a mid-table team.
Yeah.
There was never any danger of them going down, and Dempsey even got bought to Fulham. I mean, to Spurs. Didn't he go to Spurs?
He did, yeah, for a very short time.
And then go back to I think he went back to Fulham or something like that.
He went to Seattle.
Went to Seattle, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Seattle Sounders.
He never came back to Fulham. It was Fulham, Spurs, Seattle. Okay. Yeah.
But there was one season where he scored a lot of goals, and they were, I think, 7th or 8th in the table, playing really well. They had 3 or 4 really, really good players on the team. One of them, another guy who joined Spurs and was actually a type of a player that we never replaced, Moussa Dembele. He was also at Fulham first, and then he went to Spurs.
Yeah, there's Danny Murphy as well. He was at Fulham at that time.
Danny Murphy annoys me, and then he impresses me as a
he's a
pundit.
terrible pundit. I hate him. He's a miserable fucker. Yeah, I can't stand him as a pundit. He was a great player. I thought he was a really underrated player in the Premier League, because he was technically very good. Like, he had great technique, great vision. But as a pundit, I could do without him. He's
he's better on Match of the Day. You know what I don't like about him? I don't like when he lets Simon
Jones
make him sound like he's trash. Yeah, Simon Jordan. And he should have learned. He doesn't know how to tactically argue. Like Simon Jordan is not right all the time. You can't make him look right all the time. He needs to be coached how to debate.
So, guys, I just found that team that was, I think, 6th in the league. So they were coached by Martin Jol, unfortunately, who passed away. They had Bobby Zamora, Clint Dempsey, They had Eidur Gudjohnsen. They had
Quality.
They had Damien Duff. They had
Oh shit.
Both Duff and Gudjohnsen. That's
they
crazy.
had Bjorn Helge Rees. And
Martin Yole's still alive as well, Martin.
Philip Senderos. Yeah.
Yeah, stop killing people.
Oh, Yol is not alive, is he?
Yeah, he's alive. I'm fairly sure.
Hopefully Martin's wrong. Just hopefully.
I hope I'm wrong.
Martin Yole's family side is to say.
I'll check that.
But finish saying the team, Martin, and then we'll check if Martin Yole is still alive. Martin Yole, if you're alive, hit up the
Yeah,
pod.
I think he's alive. There was another Dutch.
It's a Diwali miracle.
I think he's alive. You're right. Who was the Dutch coach that died who was in Premier League 10 years ago? Oh, anyway.
I don't know.
So it's a pretty good team. A lot of experience. They had, a lot of experienced players.
I recognize all those names. I remember.
Because after
Yes, good
Yole
players.
was when Roy Hodgson came in,
Oh,
and they started going on some crazy runs in the Europa League. Because I went and saw them live.
Oh, they
a few
did
times.
good.
One of my friends is
Oh,
a
yeah?
Fulham fan. So in that era, I went to a few games. But I remember watching them play Roma one time, which was ridiculous.
That's
Just watching
pretty dope.
Fulham Roma at that tiny little ground. Well, they've done a bit of work there now. It's a little bit better now.
You know, a crazy thing I just saw on YouTube. When you say crazy little ground, it really brought it up. How much non-league football is thriving in England. Like the average salary is like 2,000 a week, which adds up to like 200 and something thousand a year. And because like they don't have like financial fair play, and it is like all these rich people that want to invest in a team, they have more money than some of the leagues above them. And there's been some players that have left like the actual leagues and joined non-league teams. So these pub teams, and then because of the pandemic,
they're not pub
out.
teams though. Like in the National League, teams they're all fully professional now. There's a lot of ex football league teams that are down there too as well. It's it's a good level of football, and the leagues below that. So the National League, which is the 5th division, fully professional, and then the National League North and South, which is below it. You've got like a handful of teams in each one that are fully pro as well.
Right.
So you can play professionally down to the 6th division here, which for a tiny little island is insane.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Like if you ever wanted to have the dream of maybe being a professional footballer, what if you were never on TV or nobody ever knew your name, but you played football and you made £100,000 a year. You take that like in any decade. And then also because England like has all these like they gave the percentage of like the youth team players that make it, like it's like point something. So like all of Chelsea's like youth team players, like, and then because the Premier League is full of like mostly internationals, like these English players never get a chance to play one game for the club that raised them. But they have all this skill better than the average footballer, and they're proficient in ball controlling, dribbling, and that they practice. So then these players, like if they didn't land in like the championship or league, the leagues below it, and then they end up in non-football, you are watching a pretty decent level quality of football. And because of the pandemic, also when the major leagues were shut down, people went to those games and like, fuck it, this is more closer to my heart. Like football on this level, like they can fuck with it. Like, so it's doing really well. So I just found that out. Man City's qualified, just going by the Champions League. Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, Benfica, and PSG both know a win in their games would take them through. If both matches end in a draw, the pair would also go through. Juventus would need to win both games to have any hope of going through. That's the Juventus. And that's hope if they win both those games. So that's just the Champions League stuff going on. I think, let me see what the biggest game tomorrow is. The Champions League.
I know we play tomorrow, but I think there might be a marquee game too.
Yeah, you play Salzburg.
Yeah.
I think, what's the marquee game? Is it Dortmund versus City?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Probably. Yeah. Or I think Benfica
again.
No, not Benfica, but like, did Benfica have a chance?
What about Real Madrid versus Red Leipzig? RB Leipzig. And on Wednesday, Barcelona versus Bayern.
It's going to be at the same time.
Yeah. And I think
Benfica Juventus is kind of important too, because Juventus really badly need a win, and they need to take points off Benfica to have a chance. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just to hope, and it still might not.
Yeah.
So we got that. And we'll do a midweek show for everybody listening or watching on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Any last words, Martin? Anything you want to plug or just say about your team and who you got next? Let's see. Well, we'll talk about that midweek, like who you got next. But
I think we play Bournemouth, which is a tricky team. But listen, that's Premier League. We'll see how it's a big test for the team. We don't have Richarlison. We don't have a bunch of other people, but other teams also deal with injuries. Let's see how they respond. I think the last game against Newcastle we didn't play bad. Against Man U we did play bad. So let's see what's next. I'm still hopeful. Obviously, I'm not super excited the way we played in the last month. I would say it wasn't as great as it.
What should you do different? Just add that attacking midfielder?
I don't know. Maybe open up a little bit sometimes, But at the same time, what Conte did always worked before. So, listen, he got us results in his first not full season. He got the job done. If he gets another top four, it's great, and then we'll maybe strengthen and try again next year. We'll see. Hopefully, I don't want to go on a losing streak. So hopefully we can break the streak and just start winning games again. So that's all.
And you can appoint Pochettino in the summer.
I like Pochettino, but I think Conte is onto something. I think he.
But he will obviously leave, so you'll have.
No, he doesn't sound that way. He doesn't sound frustrated.
Martin, can I tell you what the rumor is?
Yeah.
The rumor is that the Juventus coach is going to get fired. Then Conte is going to leave Spurs and go to Juventus, and that Pochettino it's football speculation math, but then Pochettino would just slide back up into Spurs and be like, "Hey guys,"
or worse, you might get Allegri.
I keep hearing that Conte is leaving before he even came. He was already leaving.
Oh yeah.
And he still got so far. So. I don't know, man. What do I know? I'm not Martin Levy. I'm different Martin, So Donald Levy, sorry. But I really hope that Conte will deliver. At the end of the season, and if we finish third, it will be an improvement, and it's possible we finish third. I don't think if City is healthy, I don't think anybody can compete with City. I definitely don't expect Arsenal to compete for the title. I think they're overachieving because they had an easy schedule at the beginning and didn't have any injuries too, and they're not very deep as a team. So that will be a test for them eventually. Can they finish top four? Possibly. Will they compete for the title? In my opinion, is the title that City would have to lose to someone, in some.
Well, they're going to compete more. You talking about Arsenal?
Yeah, I don't think Arsenal will.
They're competing more for the title. Like
no.
Most of the years, Arsenal, Man City has a main contender competing with them. It ain't going to be Liverpool. It's going to be Arsenal. Now, Arsenal might not win.
No, I think Man City there's a chance that they'll just run away from the rest in the season. Yeah.
We'll see. Whatchamacallit? This is shameful. I'm wearing an LAFC shirt, but I did not see what happened midweek because I was traveling and I forgot to look it up with the El Clasico playoff MLS game where Galaxy played LAFC to get into the next round of the playoffs. Or I don't know if it's one game or two games.
One game.
But I heard something. Okay. So what happened?
But you know that neither Chiellini or Bale are playing for LAFC. Chiellini came off the bench, I think, for only like last minute.
Why? Why not Chiellini? Because he was dominating when we saw him.
The guys that are playing, I assume the coach trusts more. I don't know. Maybe a fitness problem.
I know Chiellini was killing it when we saw him play. Like clearly one of their best players. Like he starred in the defense, like how Messi would star like as a forward. Like he it was like, wow. It was pretty impressive.
It looks like NYFC, that is the Man City B club, technically, because they have the same owner. And they won the title last year. It looks like they're going to win the title again. And so Man City is winning in England and in United States.
Yeah, but what happened to the...
LAFC have got Austin in the...
so they beat Puig and...
yeah, the last minute winner in El Tráfico.
Oh, okay, all right. Who scored it?
I can't remember the guy's name. Arango or something. It was a goal off I think it was off a corner. But it was 93rd minute or something crazy. The place went nuts. But yeah, it's let me have a look. What was the name? Yeah, it was Arango. Arango, 93rd minute. Yeah, it was a crazy game. So LAFC went 1-0 up. LA Galaxy pulled it back to 1-1. LAFC went 2-1 up in the 85th minute. LA Galaxy pulled it back to 2-2. And then 93rd minute, Arango got the goal. That was in the semi-final of the Western Conference. They got to play Austin in the final, and then they'll play the winner of the. It's who are New York playing in the other one? Let me have a look.
I think they're playing. What's the name of the team?
Uh,
they knocked Montreal out this weekend.
I think they beat Montreal, and now they're playing.
Yeah, Philly.
Philly, yeah, Philly, the best team.
Yeah, they're playing Philly
regular season, but I think NYFC are the team to beat because they are the well-oiled machine, and they are the title winners from last year, and they're it's a great organization. It's Man City B, as everybody says.
So I thought,
Ian, guys, I got a bounce. I have some coming up. Okay, I'll see you guys.
Take it easy, man.
Thanks, brother.
See ya.
Bye.
See you.
Yeah, we got a bounce too. But guys, thanks for coming on. Thank you, Aaron Brungard, for helping us produce this and put this together. And we'll listen to the midweek episode that's going to come out Thursday after this, or Thursday night, or Friday morning. Peace, y'all, and one.
Cheers.
All right, thank you all. Martin, thanks for joining on a shameful week. It's less shameful.
I was sport to talk. Just for the last month, I had to do a lot of interviews for Amsterdam. So I didn't want to, to do any private podcasts. I had to. I was all scheduled by my publicist. I had to do the promotion for Amsterdam.
Could have talked about it on this.
Huh?
You could have talked about it on this.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, why not? Next time.
All right, next time.
Are we still recording, or he stopped recording?
I'm about to. Now we just log out and he's got it, but we're still recording.
Okay.
But
I'm sure.
But all right, guys.
So what's Lee? Since we have time to talk for a little bit, so what's the situation?
You're still recording.
So what's with Hasenhüttl? Do you think he'll stay?
I don't even know. I mean, he's bought himself time now with these results.
Right?
Well, he is, but he does this every season. He gets a few good results, and then all of a sudden we go on a massive losing streak. Like the form we carried from the back end of last season into the start of this season was terrible. It was relegation form, and then now we're unbeaten in 3. So he's earned himself some time, but he I think he's one more bad run away from getting fired now, because I think people have lost a bit of patience. But if he can get results, then he stays. Football is a results business, and if he gets results, then
But the question is, if let's say if you start losing, is it his fault or is the team not good enough? Simply the way the team is put together.
I think the players we've got are capable of staying in this league. I don't think they're capable of finishing, like 7th or 8th, but we should be clear of relegation. Okay. But it's up to him to find some consistency, because it's his 5th season and he's still doing what he did in the first couple of seasons, where he wins some games, then he goes and loses a whole bunch. So, yeah, but I mean, he's earned enough credit to have some time if he starts getting results like this. But we've got Palace next, but then I think after that it's Liverpool and Newcastle, which will be tough. So, is it Liverpool, Newcastle? I can't even remember. We definitely got Newcastle coming up.
Hit or miss, like on any given night, you don't know what you're gonna get from Liverpool. So you might beat them. Who knows?
Yeah, we got who's it? Palace away next, Newcastle at home, and then Liverpool away. Liverpool away is our last game before the World Cup, which is delightful. But yeah, right. I'm gonna go to bed because it's 2:30 in the morning here.
Let's stay on. Let's stay in touch. Good luck, man.
See you later, guys. Cheers.